Welcome to Retro Upgrade. I'll be revisiting my girlfriend's graphics card we fixed in a collab with Richard from Learn Electronics Repair channel. I'll leave a link in the description. If you want to see my face, there I am. And this is just to put back the capacitors that burnt out on the graphics card. We don't know why they burnt out, but they were really fused to the board. This is just to test out my new recording equipment, and I think it turned out quite well. Enjoy! This time we'll be fixing the graphics card. We fixed that Richard's place last time for my girlfriend. I'm going to replace the capacitors. I've delayed this quite a while, so it's time to do this. Here is the graphics card in question. It's really dirty. It's been really dusty here. And hopefully it still works after the repair attempt. I'll be using my trusty set of tools. These are cheap Chinese stuff, but they do the job. So, telescopic screwdriver, and I think it's a small Phillips, if I'm not mistaken. So let's take one of these. That should be fine. Okay, let's start by disassembling it. Yep, it was a Phillips. I don't think even it has thermal paste from last time. We just tested it quickly and just did a small benchmark on it, and it worked fine. Without the components though, it made a whining noise in the microphones. So let's try it out. Okay, so first thing you have to think about when you're working on graphics cards, use a ESD strap. I'm not, but I haven't destroyed something yet, but use one of these if you want or can. It should be grounded if you want it to work. So you just put it on. It has to contact your wrist here, and this goes to a grounded place, like a shielding on a power brick or something. There we go, I'm grounded and I won't die. The grounding is actually for the component safety instead, for ESD shock, but usually it's not an issue. Now when you're prying apart graphics cards, please don't use too much force. It's just the thermal compound sometimes gets sticky. So just work it on one side and then the other, and it lets go. See? So, okay, first of all, we'll remove the fan. I'll clean this off later. And the offending components are under here. Let's see if we can give you a close-up. So this is the offending components that are underneath here. So let's take these off. Usually you have to paste them together from here. I have a set of pliers without any teeth. These ones, they're actually my girlfriend's. They're jeweler type tools. Really good quality. Wouldn't complain, I guess. So there's one. You just press from both sides, and there's two. Heatsink off. It still has its thermal compound. I don't think you'll be able to see the components missing, but these two are the offending ones. Yeah, they are quite visible. Okay, so let's see. I have the mic up to my right, so let's see how that sounds. Okay, so I'll be soldering a few components I got from Richard. There they are, a small baggie with different sizes. I think I'm going to use the larger size because it looks correct. Yeah, and he took a wild guess on the values because it's a filtering cap and not actually a power bearing cap, so it doesn't really matter much, we think. Let's see me be wrong and destroy the graphics card. But yeah, okay. Here we go. I'm recording this on my new setup, so I'm going to be using the microscope. the soldering iron. I'm going to use a really thick tip like this one, so I can get the heat quickly into the joint so I don't destroy anything. You can see here some damage to the PCB when we remove the fused capacitors. They fused to the board, but there was no other damage actually done, so that's fine actually. This burnt part is my own fault. I used hot air too close to the connector. Richard warned me, but I didn't listen. You live and you learn. Okay, so I'll be switching over to the microscope now. This is my jerry-rigged microscope. I'm using a the cheapest microscope I could find, microscope camera, and IKEA lamp mount, I guess. Everything looks so much bigger here. Okay, there we go. So these two are the pads we need to put capacitors on. C895, C988, in 898. One is positive, one is negative, doesn't matter because these ceramic caps don't have polarities. The easiest way to put these on is with tweezers and a really warm soldering iron. Not good. I have a crappy one, so you can still make it work. So the way you do this is you pick one of these. Use my tweezers are shit, I'm guessing. They don't hold on the paper. And usually you can get out one. I don't know what's wrong with my tweezers. Let's see. Oh, it looks okay. Do they close? No, look, they have an opening. Huh, they're probably bent. Easy enough fix. There we go. They should close nicely now. Yep. So okay, so I took out one, but I need two, so I'm going to do this off camera just to make it faster. There we go. I have them a little off camera. This should be the right size. They are. What you need to do for the capacitors is put some flux and pre-tin one of the pads. So I'll be pre-tinning the one on the left, just to make it easier for myself, because it's closer to this MOSFET. So I'm going just to push this away for now. I'm going to heat up my soldering iron. Let's say soldering station. Okay, so it's not shake proof. I need to get a better mount, but still. Okay, so the way you do this normally is put some flux. I'm using some paste flux. I dropped something. Okay, let's see. So you need a very tiny amount. I'm using a toothpick here with some flux on. That's pretty much what you need. Of course, I clean off the board afterwards. I have some 0.3 millimeter soldering wire, or tin, or what's it called? Yeah, soldering wire. So I'm going to pre-tin these pads. If I can get the heat in. Yeah, let's see. Is it too cool? Seems the tip is somewhat oxidized, so let me clean this off. Now it's nice and clean. Yep. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, so it's a little awkward having the camera in front of the screen. Actually, the solder is not melting. Oh, there we go. Okay, I need to put in a lot more heat. So that's the problem. I have this heat set way too low. I had it at 300. It should be fine, but there we go. Solder I'm using is AM Tech fake kind, so that could be the problem here. Okay, so what I need to do now is flip the board around so it's easier for me. And is it in focus? Yes, it is. Okay, so the way you want to hold the capacitor is from the corner here, and you just want to keep the heat here until it melts the solder and fuses. There we go. It's nice and tight, or firm, sorry. Okay, same here. Then you put some more, and then you put some flux on the other side. Should be enough residual flux, but yeah, the bigger the glob, the better the job, or something someone said. Louis Rossman. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so the soldering tip has seen better days. I'll turn around the PCB again so I can do it better. Now, you don't want to leave the heat on too long on the components because they'll just desolder themselves, just like the top one did right now. Does happen. Nothing you can do about it. Just be quicker. That's pretty much it. But what you do is actually you just hold it down with some tweezers and heat it up again. If you do it correctly. Which I'm not. This should be fine, but I'm not really happy with the position of the top one. It's like tombstoning, but not really. Okay, so I have to zoom out a little bit so I can get the soldering iron in a little better. So here we go. Let's try this microscope out. Okay, so there's some flicker because of the light I'm using. I'm going to do a video on when I actually fix the light as well. No one's going to see this shit, so doesn't really matter. So this didn't work. Okay, let's try this out again. Remove one. I have to clean off the pads again. I think they were still dirty from last time. Let's put on some more flux, some clean solder. You just need to get a lot of heat into the joints. That's pretty much the ticket here. Especially the ground planes. There we go. Now let's clean them off and do the same thing again. IPA. Oh, looks nice. Using an old regular toothbrush here. Now what you need for this is extremely hot soldering iron, some good flux, which I don't have, but I'll make do with this. There we go. So this is the ground plane on this side, and it's the hardest part to solder. So what I'm going to do is take one, heat it up, and keep it level. So is that fine? It's on there. Next one. Oh, it's not on. That's on there. Okay. So if we flip the board around now, and refocus, put some flux on. There's some glare. Let's see if we can fix that. Okay, so let's see. So thing you have to do is, sorry about the shaking, hold this down and solder. Same with the other one, hold it down, just solder. It's easier if you have some solder on your iron. So I'm holding this down again. There, it's soldered, and this one. And that's soldered properly. So that should look quite nice. I'm turning off my soldering iron. I'm just going to measure them put some alcohol on to clean it up off. There we go, a few drops. I'm missing a spray bottle. I don't know where it went. Let's see. I use the times that. Put some alcohol on. Oh, sorry. Wrong place on the board. Yeah, it's hard with a piece of paper in the way. So this looks good. I can see it's firmly soldered on both sides. This is not going anywhere. So these should make contact to here. Let's try out the theory. Let's solder with the my multimeter. So I'm putting the probes together. That works. Okay, so let's put the graphics card so you can see the actual place I need to test for. So I have my probe on ground here and just test for ground here on the MOSFET side. Shouldn't this be ground? Oh, this is ground. Wrong side. And these are not grounded. They are not. Are they connected together? They are, but they should, I think. So the way to test this one actually is to test one of these and one on the back side there, on the capacitor. Okay. Do we have a short? No. We do not. No, I'm pretty sure we don't have a short, and I'm pretty sure it's soldered on correctly. Okay, this is time for assembly. I think I have some thermal paste lying around. No, thermal paste. Let's see what we got here. I think Richard donated a little thermal paste for me. Yep, he did. Courtesy of Richard. So let's clean off this first. Some IPA. Piece of paper. IPA. It works really well normally. Still has some left. It's kind of fatty. There we go. That looks like a mirror. Perfect. So for the heatsink, we'll do the same treatment. Move this over here. Clean off the crappy solder paste. All solder pads are in their place, so I don't need to worry too much. Okay, a little bit more alcohol. Put my finger behind and just make sure it's as clean as possible. There we go, really dirty. So let's just clean off a little bit around the GPU. There's some dry thermal paste around, not too dry, I guess. You have to be careful here so you don't chip or scratch a via. I'm really careful here. I'm not putting any pressure. The sharp side is up on the tweezers, so this is just working as a glorified scraper. If I'm not mistaken, these chips have underfill as well, so chance that they damage something is really low. Just going to take one of the brushes and just remove anything that's loose. I introduce some dirt on the GPU again polish it off. Not that it matters because it's going to get from our compound. Just clean off the pins while I'm here. Okay, so what you want to do is put a nice glob in the middle, a zigzag or so. That's more than enough. If you put too much, it just becomes a mess. I usually spread it out a bit with some kind of scraper or something, but I can't seem to find mine. Let's see. Oh yeah, I found my spatula I usually use for this. So the thing I do is put it thicker in the middle so it spreads a little more even, and just cover a little bit around. So if the squish doesn't pick it up, this does. Okay, perfect. This is a small putty knife or sculptor's spatula or something. Okay, so what you want to do is connect the fan first, because I've done that mistake a few times. And then you just put it down very gently. Turn it around and try to line up the holes. There we go. There are mounting posts. You can see them through the holes. And just use the screws to pull it in place. So this one is incorrectly set. There we go. Don't over tighten these, they don't need to. The tightness is set by the springs. As soon as the spring is compressed, you know you have the right tightness. You could tighten them a lot harder, but you risk of cracking the die, so I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, sure. The more pressure you have, the more thermal conductivity. So yeah, there is a benefit to it. There, I think this graphics card is done. Just going to clean off the pins. Just do a quick visual inspection and clean off the fan with a brush. Just take off a little bit of the dirt. I don't think this video will ever make it online, but who knows. I cleaned off the fan assembly first time when I got the fault, because I didn't know what was wrong. I thought it was an overheating problem, but clearly damaged components. I didn't know that at the time. There we go. But this looks really nice. Okay, so we'll take a bit of paper, a little bit of alcohol. You can take a cotton swab as well and just gently rub all over the contacts here. This is just to prevent it from not booting the first time and me getting disappointed, or yeah. And maintenance is always good. So I have two bias settings. I usually use the number 1, so if I let it go, it's on number 1. Okay, time to install. We'll be back in a moment. Okay, DVI. Oh my god, we have a picture! It's working! I have just to set up the dual bias for the dual outputs. And just to confirm, it is the radeon. Okay, let's pull this down. It is the Sapphire inside, as you can see here. And it is working, it's alive on both screens. Okay, so let's put this up. So it took a few boot cycles to get this to start. Probably some setup things. So it's working again. Ignore the dust. We have had a dust storm a few weeks ago and it covered everything in dust. But now everything works. Kid sits here and plays on wife's computer. So yeah. Okay, we're done. Thank you for watching until the end. If you liked what you saw, or maybe know someone that likes it, tell them about the channel, or maybe consider subscribing if you want to see more. Until next time, bye.